Good afternoon, on what is a surprisingly mild day. It is Wednesday the 25th of January. I'm in the reading nook with a nice hot cup of tea and a parcel to unbox. So this comes courtesy of my friend Nick, so I want to thank her for lending it to me to unbox and talk about it to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so. There we go. And what I've got in here is this, which is the Children of the Hykim, or alternatively the Children of the Micah. So this is a supplement available from the Jonstown Compendium. It's the latest one to come to print, and it's come from the Jonstown Compendium, which is the community content program for RuneQuest, Roleplaying in Glorantha, 13th Age Glorantha, and Quest Worlds. And it basically it's not a community content program with a lot of titles in comparison to others, but it's a lot of very good, focused, fan-driven content. So, Children of the Hykim, the Totem animal peoples of Glorantha. So, this book is for anyone interested in Hsunchen, the shape-shifting totem animal peoples of the world of Glorantha, the setting for the RuneQuest role-playing game. The Hsunchen inhabit the fringes of Gloranthan geography and include some of the world's most peculiar and fascinating peoples. Because they mostly live remote from the mainstream society, they're often obscure and poorly documented, and perhaps rarely encountered in many RuneQuest games. The Children of Hykim is here to put that right. 22 ancient tribes are described across 169 pages, alongside extensive information regarding the culture, myth, technology, magic, and more. And I do hope I'm pronouncing Hsunchen right. Apologise if I'm not. So, this highlights a particular point about the setting of RuneQuest and Glorantha, is that at its core, it kind of focuses on a particular geographical area, relatively small, known as Dragon Pass, and the peoples who live there, which of course include the Sartorites, the Tarshites, the lunar peoples from the north, the Esrolians, and the Praxians. And it doesn't really stray from that often. This is a book that does help you do that. So we open up, and there's a little table of contents, and then in-game fiction before we get into the overview, which explains what the book is about. You know who this book is for, what you need to use the book, which is a copy of RuneQuest Roleplaying Glorantha, RuneQuest Bestiary, and the RuneQuest Red Book of Magic. And it makes clearly the point is that your Glorantha may vary, and that's one of the things that is evident from the content that is coming off the Jonstown Compendium, is that it falls under your Glorantha may vary. It's not official content. You can use it in your game with relatively little change to what is official content. In part, in some cases, it actually is looking at content which isn't actually available officially for the game yet. But this presents material that is close enough. So, I'll get into explanation of who the Hsunchen are, and the nature of Hsunchen society. Decent artwork there, just showcasing them. And one of their totems, which essentially a beaver craftsman carves a tree into a form of a totem pole. And then we have the continuing travel log, where you have an outsider coming in and exploring and explaining who these are and discovering more about them. And this is sort of like, what that does, it adds colour to the text alongside it, and gives a point of view of someone who has come from the outside in, pretty much like the reader. Then we delve into Hsunchen mythology and Hsunchen history. Spirit traditions and magic as well are covered. their view of the spirit world. And how they gain rune magic, which is obtaining rune magic from spirits. And we've got a constant view essentially of their sort of their equipment, the weapons and so on they're using. So it is a kind of it's a Stone Age society to an extent. Then we have that's basically an owl shaman in her nest, and then in combat, and how they fight. And in particular Hsunchen runes, which differ from those which you normally accept, essentially, but these are unofficial, and these again fall onto your Glorantha may vary. And this is, for example, and then it does things like essentially what my mama told me, and this is from one of the groups within the clan, the tribes within the Hsunchen people, the opossum people, and this gives you know, essentially, what do you know as a member of that tribe, and then the opossum shaman, and it's going to do this presumably again and again throughout, and then essentially the Hsunchen tribes of Frenella. So we start off with skunk. So you even have things like, you know, in this, because it's exploring people who embrace the beast and can change into the beasts they revere. So we have rune magic of transform head, transform limb skunk, and then musk spray. And this is basically the black owl, mammoth. Let's go about their business. Badger, complete with stats for badger. Raccoon, bear, and you've best just showing these off. And then we've got a timeline with Hsunchen. Bobcat. So essentially it's an alternative to the lynx, the alinx, which we regularly know as the shadow cat of part of basically Dragon Pass. Wolverine, complete stats. Reindeer, basically yellow quill porcupine. And it's going to just essentially, so you have a coat of quills, transform head, transform limbs for the yellow quill porcupine, but the ability essentially, the special magic there is coat of quills. And then we've got the Hsunchen tribes of Ralios. So most of this quite widespread in you know, the reach. Mountain goats. And again, these illustrations are really nice. You've got essentially almost like a classic version of their totems. And so for the goat magic, you have avalanche, goat's balance, goat's blood, and so on, and transformed goat head, fallow deer, and giant beaver. Horse. Wolf. And then we go into we've got the Hsunchen tribes of Mineria. And again, this is a region that I don't know anything about, or know very little about, in comparison to the rest of Glorantha. So this is, going into this book itself will be all new to me. So that's the opossum. So for the possum, we have Beast of Burden, Pouch of Holding, and Play Dead. I mean, a really nicely done thematic rune spells here for each of the different tribes. And we have the boar, and the elk, and then we have other Hsunchen tribes. So we do have the lion, the gopher. I mean, very American there. So yes, the spells include for the gopher. It includes command gophers, transform body gopher, transform head gopher, and transform limbs. Puma. So on. No otter. Can I say I'm just disappointed by the lack of otter? But you know, that's just me. And then we have Hsunchen characters and scenarios. So, you know, basically how to create a character, following the same steps as you would in RuneQuest role-playing in Glorantha, so homeland, family history, rune affinities and so on, characteristics. It doesn't actually use the family history path in the rulebook, of course. And then playing Hsunchen as adventurers, so options here include playing as an all Hsunchen group, so you've got a discussion of that. Hsunchen outcast, and then stranger in a strange land if you want to play a very different character far from home. Hsunchen non-player characters as well are considered, and then reviving things like the revival of the Serpent Alliance in Rallios, or reviving the White Bear in Fernella. Essentially, you know, ideas for campaign outlines, Hsunchen hero quests and what they would involve. And then appendices, and then nicely includes the origins of the Hsunchens in print. So it does. I like about it is these supplements tend to acknowledge the fact that they are drawing on previously published material for their inspiration and development of that content. So you know, we have the origins of Hsunchen in print, the origins of Hsunchen in Glorantha as well. And then there's other peoples as well, other Hsunchen peoples elsewhere not covered by this book, and therefore open to for the GM Game Master to create her own. And things like an index of all the rune spells mentioned, because there's quite a few of them. And then so it is the complete list. And whilst there is no otter in this book, it is mentioned here. So, you know, I'm not completely disappointed. I'm just disappointed it's not detailed. And then God learner taxonomies of the different animals and how that ties in. And then question and answers. Essentially, here are things, you know, things that that you as the reader might ask when you're reading this book. Things like, you know, what does it mean when the Hsunchen are described as Neolithic or Mesolithic? In terms of the game, so on. Again, another report to finish off from a scholar, and that's quite lengthy. And then the author's notes at the end. So yeah, looking forward to digging into this. You know, because this will provide a different view of, you know, of another people that you might not necessarily have seen covered by officially for quite a while, because it's a completely different place away from what what is currently being covered by Chaoisum itself, because obviously, you know, it can't cover everything. So, and then we've got a big bibliography at the back. So here are the sources that the author referred to. So yes, we've got the core rules for RuneQuest for role-playing, we've got the guide to Glorantha, the bestiary, and then a couple of things, other things we have, things like HeroQuest voices, which are really useful for tying in, presenting, you know, that thought patterns of what a character knows and what he sort of thinks growing up in a particular culture. He can, you know, change from that if he wants to, but it's the basis of what he's thinking. and then content on the compendium is there as well, which is quite extensive, and we even have other sources as well. So nice bibliography at the end. I absolutely approve of that. So yeah, that's the Children of Hykim, available on the Jonstown Compendium. So yeah, for if you want to explore the world of Glorantha from a different point of view. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. If you have, please do click on the like button down below. And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, I do appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you will see me out here with a box containing a book or game which I'll unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice cup of tea. Then please do hit that subscribe button down below. Thanks again for watching another unboxing in the Nook. I'll be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.